everyone. Welcome back to K Talk. We're your host. I'm Mel.
And I'm Uma. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing great this week. On today's after show, we are wrapping up the second half of Love Scout. What an adorable little show it has been.
I know. It is so cute. And the second half just continued to be as cute as the first half.
In the same pace, right?
Yeah.
Like nothing. We knew everything that was going to happen in the second half. I loved how the story unfolded. There wasn't anything too crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't try to make it super dramatic towards the end. Like all the stories.
I mean, we
were
had
like,
a little dramatic part, but I'm glad that went well as well, like that
for
didn't.
sure. And I just love how everybody is loving Anu, like that the actor himself.
I know.
I saw it on TikTok. There were so many edits, like the week that the show had actually like finished, that he was doing like this press tour and he was in Taiwan, and all these people, like this huge crowd, was at the airport waiting for him, and somebody was taking this video from like across the street from the terminal, and you could see the emotion on his face that it was so unexpected. Like I don't think he realized the love that he's getting and the exposure that he got with this show.
Yeah, it's even though he's more of like a veteran actor, this is definitely the drama that literally catapulted his career, which is crazy.
Yeah, this was a very sweet role for him. I was first introduced to him in this show called Stranger, and I think it had about like maybe 2 seasons, but he was playing like this asshole of a prosecutor. So he always played like this mean,
kind of strong roles.
Yeah, right? Like I don't want to call him like a villain, but
Yeah.
towards the end he kind of, turned out to be a little bit nicer. But for the most part of that show, like he was just a dick. And it was nice to see him in Love Scout because he was such a green flag.
Yeah.
Like everything he did.
This is my first introduction to him, so yeah, he played the role so well. He was just so charming and just so sweet.
I know, right? I can't wait to see what he does next, because trust me, the love is out there for him now, and people are very, very excited to see what kind of role he brings after this one.
Also, Han Ji-min has another drama coming up that I'm also excited for, called Heavenly Ever After. It will be on Netflix. I cannot wait to see her in that.
I can't wait either. I'm a little confused with that one because the premise of that show is, I guess, like this: when people die, when they go to heaven, they get to choose like what age they want to be in heaven.
Yeah.
And her husband dies first, and he goes back to looking like, like his
30-year-old self.
Yeah, 30-year-old self. And when she dies, she's like, no, I'm going to stay the age that I died at. And I'm like, but how does Han Ji-min come into this? Because my understanding is she's going to be like playing the younger version.
I'm guessing it'll be more so for the flashbacks of their relationship when they were both
that
alive,
could
when they were
work.
younger. I think that's how she comes in.
Yeah, that could be it. But I just know I'm going to cry through that
it's-
one. It looks like it's going to be a tearjerker as well.
And you know me, I love to cry. So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Right? Me
Yeah.
too. Okay, so Love Scout, the second half, like I said, wasn't unpredictable in any way. They finally confess to one another. They share their first kiss. My favorite part of them getting together was how, all the secret little hand touches in the office. Like
I know.
they thought they weren't being obvious about it, but like you could see like every chance that he got, they'd be glancing at each other through the glass, like into her office and her looking out into like the pit. And I'm just like, these two dorks, they're so cute.
It was like such a pure and innocent love, like it took you back to like middle school, like it was
the way
just
that they
so
were
cute.
feeling, right?
Yeah, even when she knew what time he came in the morning, and she held the elevator for him. And I love director So's reaction to that. She's like, hold up, how do you know what time he comes? Like, she was putting it together,
right?
Like,
because this and the happier she was in her relationship, you could see her personality kind of like opening up. And I thought it was funny how like all of a sudden like she remembers everybody's names, because that was her thing, right? Like she did not know any of her employees' names, and she was constantly like fucking it up.
Didn't know their names, didn't go to any of the dinners ever.
None. She just became more fun, like less uptight. And even her employees could kind of sense what was happening. One of the employees actually clocked that they were together because she came to the office late one night and she saw them hiding. Was it like the office closet or something? Or the supply room? I don't know. But she was just like, oh, these idiots.
Yeah.
So they kind of weren't as secretive as they thought they were going to be.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious.
Right? Let's see. that their relationship was cute. And for the most part, we just knew what was coming up, which was they're going to connect the dots. And the trauma that she's working through is losing her dad at such a young age and resenting him for going back and saving a little boy. And we know that little boy now is
Jun-hyuk. Yeah.
There we go. So,
like we called it in the first half. I knew.
We kind of, we did say that, right?
We did say that, yeah.
It was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But it turns out like he had been searching for the man that had saved him. Yeah. And he finds out and goes to his memorial site and like pays his respects and finally breaks it to Ji-hoon.
Yeah. What did you think about how she handled that?
You know what? I think it was done well because it could have dragged out. Yeah. But I like that he told her and gave her time to deal with it. Yeah. Let her process. Like, he didn't take it personal, right? Like, it was a hard moment because she's low-key hated that little boy. She didn't know who it was.
Yeah, but it also broke my heart to see how cold she was being with him. Like, I get it. She was processing. I understand that. But it was just seeing it, like, just brushing him off. I know he felt so rejected, and I felt so bad
in
for
that
him.
moment. But I don't think it hurts to be rejected in that moment. I understand, but I don't think he took it too personal. Like, he knew this is shocking news,
I know.
Right?
I'm saying he understood. I'm just saying me as a person watching it, I felt for him.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, same.
Because he really deeply cares about her, and to feel so like they went from being all lovey-dovey to now she's literally being so cold to him, and just seeing that, I just felt bad.
And for me, it felt like she was cold for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she just needed a day to process. And I like that they stayed true to her character in the sense that, like, she's a very logical, methodical person. Yeah. So she just had to sit with it. And then she finally, like, sort out her feelings. And then she finally came to terms with it. Like, I really, yes, I resented my dad, but now I'm looking at him and his beautiful daughter, and she wouldn't have existed if my dad hadn't saved him. And I like that it was very quick because her character doesn't sit in those, feeling sorry for herself type of feelings. Yeah,
and I loved how they came back in such a big way. That's when they came back. She grabbed his hand and walked in the office with him. I was like, I was screaming.
Yeah, in her heart, she had like accepted everything, and you could tell that she genuinely wanted to move forward and wanted him in her life, and she loved him more than like she resented her dad. Yeah. So I thought that was very healing for her. But that scene was amazing when they like just charged out of the elevator. They're holding
grabbed his
hands,
hand, was like,
and everybody's like, what? Yeah. I thought that was super cute.
Yeah, and I think she finally understood as well that what type of person her dad was. Like, that's how much of an amazing man he was. That he went in and saved a complete stranger child. Like,
and I like that they didn't waste time in the sense of like, they didn't write it in a way that she would sit down and have this, long conversation with him. Like, I've accepted it. I just like that they got down to business. Yeah. She processed her feelings, and she let him know by grabbing his hand and being like, we're back. Let's go.
We're back, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Right? She was like, you can't doubt what she meant with that. So I thought that was great. Let's talk about the second couple. Okay. Director Woo and Soo-yeon. Yeah. Those two idiots.
Literally.
I mean, I felt for them when they were like commiserating with each other, and that their loves didn't work out.
They both got rejected.
They both got rejected.
One-sided loves. Yeah.
They were great company for one another, but you could see slowly, like in healing from their rejection, that they kind of started to become friends and start to look for one another, and their feelings were slowly developing.
Yeah, they started just open up to each other, right? Like him even with his daddy issues, and so it was really cute how they just came together organically, like you said, as friends.
But then it was so dumb because they were oblivious to the fact that they were liking each other, and I love how it took that fortune teller to be like, okay guys, you need to sit down for a second. There's something happening here. What is this relationship?
She was like, get together and get out of my face.
Right? And they're looking at each other like, but what are we? But what are we? They're so shy.
And they just walked away holding hands.
Right? Just so giddy. That was such a cute scene. Like, she's just like bumping into him, and you could literally feel their joy in their body language. And I was like, well done.
No, and I love Director Wu. He's just such a lovable, playful guy. Like,
Even though he obviously, like, both of them had lost a sibling. Yes. Right? Her sister, his brother. So I think that also brought them closer together. But I could see him dealing with things and standing up to his dad. I thought his dad just so quickly switching up and all of a sudden, wanting to have a relationship with him. That was a little too convenient for me.
Yeah, but I
because
think
he was so mean in the beginning.
I think it was when he had that moment with the sister-in-law, right? With the whole picture, and I think that really hit him in that moment of like, hey, even though I lost this son, I still have one that's still living, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is kind of like, but that was still too quick for me though, because I'm like, he was such a horrible father to him.
Yeah.
The entire first half, even for a good couple of episodes in the second part
I love
as well.
how he stood up to his dad in his own way, right? Like he didn't join his company. He was at People's. He just was trying to do his own thing, and I love that he still stayed very playful, very light. It didn't,
Yeah.
like it didn't make him an angry, mean person. And
yeah,
I
you're
like
right,
that.
actually.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was cute. I'm glad they made up and they wrapped up that story, but I'm just like, a little too convenient because your dad is a hot mess.
Yeah, I don't know if I would forgive years and years of that type of, that quickly. But I don't think he did. I think he just looks at it now. It's like, okay, I guess this is a step in the right direction kind of thing.
Hopefully.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that was nice. What was the other one? One of the major things that happened was, oh my God, the career way.
Oh, that girl.
That little bitch.
She is such a little jealous, evil little.
For no reason.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I knew that guy that was in the little thing with them. I knew he was going to snitch so hard because you could see when they had that little meeting, when they were like celebrating or whatever, you can tell that he was not about
He had a little bit of a conscience.
Yeah.
They didn't. They were just like, it's done. We were going to do this anyways. Like, who cares?
I knew he was going to snitch. Yeah.
Oh, that whole fraud setup. And then the way that she's the one that ended up getting arrested for it. Yeah. I thought that was perfect. But yeah, so
she was just that's crazy what jealousy does to you, because that's all it's about. I don't even think with her it was even about what happened in the other company. I think she's literally just jealous of Ji-yoon, her strength, her competence, just everything about
exactly.
her.
She resented the fact that like she went out on her own and started her own company. I'm like, just mind your business, stay in your lane, do your job. She's your competition, so what? But you're right. It felt like it was more of like a personal
thing
towards her. And look what happened. It bit her in the ass at the end because everything that she tried to set her up with, even though for a little bit it looked like she was winning because she did end up taking over her company. But how satisfying was when she walked in and no employee was there.
Oh my God, I loved how they all resigned. Yeah.
That's loyalty right there. And I was like, what were you expecting? Did she really think her people were going to stay? After she just like...
I think a part of her thought in a way that maybe from the Ji-yoon that she knew that she was like her.
Yes, very cold.
And that's what I liked about Ji-yoon. Even though she was a workaholic, she was very, rigid in her work. People still loved her. Even though she wasn't like chitty chatty with her coworkers, I feel like she always treated them fairly and, didn't treat them bad.
No, exactly. Yeah. She was a great boss. Like she always took care of her employees, and that's one thing I really liked about her. Like, but she couldn't see that on the outside in. Remember, like she didn't care about the people that worked for her. She would step over anybody that she wanted, so she couldn't understand why these people would be so loyal to her and leave. Yeah. And I love how they were like in some coffee shop or wherever they were, like frantically looking for another job,
just doing the work and just like we gotta figure this out because there's no way this is
luckily happening. Ji-yoon takes a little bit of a break and then comes back, starts her own business and brings her core people back, and I was like, it worked out great in that sense.
And that's why I feel like Eun-ho was so good for her. It was just that little break that she took, was able to be like, oh my God, am I day drinking? I've never drank. Like she never literally lived.
Took a nice break, right? Yeah. And I liked that she was just dating and enjoying her life basically for a little bit, and then she was like, let's get back to it.
And that's what he did for her. He made her see that there's more to life than just work. Yeah, absolutely.
And just softened her up a little bit.
It did. She literally said that. It's like, you've changed me, And I just loved her relationship with Buell. Like, that was so natural. And even from the start, how it happened, running to each other in the bookstore, they're very similar, right? So
such a wonderful little relationship. And I'm so glad that, like, she gets to have, like, a friend and now, kind of like a stepmom who
Yeah.
she actually likes. That scene where Biol was fighting with her dad because, God, men are so dumb sometimes. He couldn't understand the concept of a princess party. And he was like, he put her like, I think in like overalls or something.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart when at school she was like, I'm not going to the party, because she was like, if I'm not showing up and showing out,
yeah,
I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's right, little girl. But Ji-yoon finds out and she's like,
saved the
not on
day.
my watch. And
Yeah.
the way she walked in with the poofiest, most blingy little princess dress
Her
and
little
the best
tiara
gift.
and the biggest gift. Yeah. And my favorite scene with them was when she slept with her and she put her hand in her hand while she was sleeping.
Yeah.
It was so cute. Also, the funniest part was when they were all at the library with all the employees.
Yeah.
And she said in front of all of them, it's like, will you be sleeping over again?
Again?
That was so hilarious.
That was. And I was like, oh, like, it's a little cliche. I'm like, you guys are grown adults. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's not like that. It's not like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it should be like that. Like, who cares?
And at that point, they knew they were together too, right?
Of course.
So
it
was
just
like,
made it very, very awkward. Like,
Yeah.
she just asked an innocent question. And everybody's like, oh, okay.
Oh, you guys are there?
All right.
Yeah,
We're
sleeping
already living
over?
together now?
Yeah,
That was adorable.
it was.
But all in all, like, this show was just, it was cute. It was well paced. It, you know, like, there was no crazy unnecessary drama. Like, all the drama that was there was basically like about the work issue and her company and holding on to it, and that was perfect.
Yeah, and healing from her dad's situation.
And that
as
was
well.
really quick though, because
Yeah.
I like that they didn't try to make it bigger than it was.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, she grew up very lonely, but it didn't damage her to the point where it's like she's giving up her future with this man.
Yeah.
Right?
As it shouldn't, right? Yeah, like how would you take that? Like if you were I don't know if I would even
I would make the same choice.
Yeah, I don't think I'd
like,
be that
he
angry,
can't help
to
it.
be honest.
Exactly. Before, I think she couldn't get past her own hurt and loneliness that she didn't have her dad,
Yeah.
and kind of see that, like, but he died saving someone else's life, like, and because she had no connection to that person whose life was saved, all she could focus on was like, I don't have my dad. I don't think she
Because
even
of this
thought
person.
about
Yeah.
anything else. So I would move on.
Yeah, me too. It's just like, but I guess it does hit different because she did grow up alone. It's not like she went and has like a family support or just, so I think that's what it made it worse.
Yeah, and even
Yeah.
Director So had said at one point where it's like she's not even close to her relatives because they always used to pass her around. Like, she never had one specific family that took her in and had like a solid, steady upbringing.
Yeah.
They always passed her from one family to the
Yeah.
next. And now that she's super successful, they're always hitting her up for money.
Yeah.
So she really had no support system.
Yeah. I didn't really even have friends either. So
She was workaholic.
yeah. But let's talk about that scene at the event with the chairman.
Before we get to that,
Yeah.
that dumbass dress is following me everywhere.
Oh my God.
I was like, not you again.
No, my cute dress. Okay, I gotta say, who wore it better? Hee-ju
I don't even like
from
the
When the
dress, I don't
Phone
care.
Rings, or Ji-yoon?
You know what? I think I
Well, you don't like the dress at all. You don't want anyone to wear it. But
I think they equally look great in it.
no, I would go with Ji-yoon because I feel like it's more age appropriate for her, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it
I kinda
works
see what you
better
mean.
for her.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the event, oh my God, for the love of me, I can't remember why the other actress, like where she was wearing that dress in When the Phone Rings.
That
Where
was
did she
another
wear it
type of
again?
event as well.
It was similar?
Yeah.
Probably. It was something
Yeah.
formal.
It was something formal. Yeah.
Fine. I'll take it. I agree. Ji-yoon wore it better, only because that scene I think was more intense.
Yeah.
I don't really care for the dress, but I really did like that scene more though because
He is
again,
such a
Director Woo's
disrespectful-
dad,
Oh my
out of
God.
control. Like, you have to stay. He literally just wanted to like embarrass her in front of people.
Literally.
And
honestly, I was kind of annoyed by Director Wu in that moment because it's like, apparently this is a girl that you've been having feelings for and you couldn't even step up for her in that moment with your dad.
I know, but remember, like, he
I
has
mean,
his
I
own
get it.
issues
They
with
have
his
a
own
very
dad. Like, you could see
yeah.
he was visibly getting angry for her.
Yeah.
But I think in the moment, he's just shocked, right? Like, he can barely stand up to his dad for
Self.
himself.
Yeah, I get that, but it's like I feel like that would have been so much more powerful if he, for the first time in his life, you know,
Had That would have
and
been a
because
great
he had
moment.
feelings for her as well, right? So it's
I
like,
I think at that point he knew that they were dating and he kind of took a step back feeling wise. But even as a friend,
yeah,
like
even as a friend,
he didn't like
that's what
her
I
being
mean.
mistreated.
Yeah.
But you know what? He didn't even need to step up
Because guess who swooped in?
right?
Yeah.
Ani is just like, it's my fault. Like literally just tried to take the blame and
Yeah.
the heat off of her. And everybody could see what he was doing.
And that's why I love him for her, because I feel like that's what she needs so much, right? That just strong, just protector.
Yes.
Right?
He delivered in every way.
He does.
And I
Yeah.
was like, yes.
He's a man's man. Like, but yeah, I was kind of annoyed by like Director Wu in that moment. It's like, come on, you could have at least said something, even if you didn't make a scene. He could have alleviated in some way, right?
I know, but I
Like,
just think the trauma that he
Yeah.
and the relationship that he has with his dad kind of made him freeze
Freeze,
in that
yeah.
moment.
But at the
I
same
don't-
time, it's nothing shocking, right, with his dad, because he does these things. He's
yeah.
just a
and didn't he say something to his dad after, like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
stop meddling in my life, because then he gives up everything.
Yeah.
There's a point where his dad cuts him off and he's like sleeping in the
In
school.
school, yeah.
And it becomes like a little part-time worker for his sister-in-law. So
Yeah.
in his own way, like,
And I love that he stood up for him for himself in that moment as well, by just saying, you know what, you cut my
I can
cards,
live
I don't care,
without all
I will
these
figure it
things.
out.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he did, and then he asked him to come back.
of course, because he had a quick change of heart. All of a sudden he was like, I got to be there for the one son that I have left.
Yeah, obviously,
But
I don't feel like that decision was
you're telling me,
purely out of for his son. Obviously, I think he's looking at it from a business point of view as well. It's like, if this son goes away, who do I have left over to take over anything?
exactly.
Or, you know?
yeah,
So,
there was, I think there was a little bit of a selfish motive
a little bit,
there
a
as
lot
well.
of it. A lot
But,
of it.
yeah, it's just all these years that, you know, because it looks like it's been a couple of years since his other son had like passed away. But like that picture was the first time you wanted to emotionally take in the situation. I
Yeah.
don't know, that whole makeup.
No, I
thing
think
was
in that
a little
moment
too
he
convenient
realized,
for me.
hey, this is the only kid I got left.
Right?
I better make up with them.
Let me not
or-
alienate him some more
Yeah,
before I'm left alone.
yeah. It was just, but yeah, it was whatever.
It is what it is. But even, can we talk about how director So and her husband also
They are the cutest. Like,
such a great supporting cast, because
Yeah.
they were just there for their friends. Like
Yeah.
they warmed everything up, and I love how like at the end you could see that they were like contemplating having a baby, and he was
Yeah.
like looking up books, and like because she's a little bit older, and
Yeah.
finally, because I was like, come on, you guys deserve a little deal of yourselves.
yeah, they're so. And then we have Younghwa and Wang Hee getting together. That was
Okay. Those two.
Why they all act like they just never? Well, that girl, I give it to her, because that literally is her first whatever. She's never had a boyfriend before.
I think both
She's-
of them.
Yeah,
But again, they thought they were being so secretive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like they slipped up so many times.
yeah. There's a point where he was comforting her in front of the group, and then she's like, "Oh shit!"
And flung him off
Yeah.
because he you know, you could tell that they're together.
Yeah.
They're embracing, he's comforting her, he's touching her. Like, you
Yeah.
guys can't hide it. Like, and everybody was rolling their eyes, and they did a whole reveal too. It's like, well, if they came out,
Yeah.
we're together too. And they're like, woo, we had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah, it was like literally love was in the air. The
Everywhere.
whole entire show, everyone was just hooking up. I loved it. It was a very
I'm surprised the two managers didn't end up getting together too.
Literally.
But she was so against office romances, that other
yeah.
worker.
Oh my God, can we speak about that random scene, like starting in episode 7? It was so weird. Like, it just opens with people in a lab. For a moment, I thought I was watching the wrong show. You know that girl that was wanted to come to People's because her ex worked with her?
They had a
That was
workplace
so
romance.
unnecessary. I was genuinely confused. I'm like, where is this coming from and why do we need this?
I think that was just the layup to get the whole like workplace romance conversation going.
Yeah, but it was just so unnecessary to me.
And how they made up at the end. They did make up,
they
right?
did,
Those random...
He said, I can't live without you or whatever, but it was just so random.
I know. I think that it was just the only way that they could introduce that whole dialogue.
Did they really need to?
Is it appropriate? The pros and cons of dating somebody that you work with. I think it was just a way for them to
but it was
bring that all out. But
it wasn't needed.
It was not needed.
It was so weird. I was just like, what show am I watching? I'm like,
you're like, who are these characters
why are we
now?
alive? And who are these people?
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, but all in all, loved it. What would you rate it?
I think I'm gonna give it an 8.
Oh my god, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, it was such an enjoyable watch.
Yeah,
like they wrapped up all the stories nice. There weren't any plot holes that I can think of. Everything
nothing
that they
annoyed me. It was very smooth, very like everything you'd want from a mature romance.
Yeah,
right?
and you got to see their relationship developing, which is a big thing for me because it's like, do I believe any of these relationships that are happening? And I think they did that justice. Like
they did.
Every couple, you got to see how they impacted each other and how their relationship progressed. Even like, I forget their names, the cutie ones that thought, the third couple.
Yeah, third couple, yeah.
Even their personalities are alike, and you can see how they developed it. So I love when you can see them actually.
Yeah, the chemistry was chemistry across the board.
Yeah.
It
was a great show, honestly. Like, it's just such a warm watch. I love it.
It's such a comfort show. And I knew that from the beginning. I called them like, this is going to be such a comfort show.
Right.
Yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Who's your star of the show?
My star of the show is Jun-hyuk. That man could do no wrong. Like, yeah.
I think him and his daughter stole the show for me. Like, both of them. They're like a little package for me because Biol really brought like cute little funny elements to it. So
she did.
She's definitely a little star too. So I think it's her and her dad for me as well.
Yeah. Great show. Loved it.
It was wonderful. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the after show, covering the second half of Love Scout, let us know what you think in the comments. I feel like I can't talk right now.
It's fine, girl. It's fine.
Bye. Have a great week, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.